nothing but the runaround, okay? Purely runaround. This young man deserves justice. This sheriff's department is not putting out the necessary information that this family needs that is necessary. The only reason why they had a meeting with the DA is because it was the mother who pushed the issue and father by way of text message and constantly saying, hey, can you give us an update on what's going on here? Can you let us please know? They use the best way they can to get justice and to get information for their son. I'm going to give you an update tonight on a few things on the front as this Nolan Wells situation is it is ridiculous on so many fronts. As Judge Carlos Moore told you, and I've been playing his videos on this channel. I dearly am wanting to get in contact with him. I follow him on the Facebook. He has a Facebook page because he's also running for local office in Atlanta, Georgia. And he has said that there's something about this lady, Angel Myers. She is the DA down there in Jackson County. And as I put on the title of this video, she has a bias history, and the judge is going to tell you what it is because he actually had a run-in with her. He's actually dealt with her. He knows how she gets down. And this is why I'm saying to everybody that they're playing games. This young man went on a trip to this island on a boat. Everyone returns home but him. The father and mother had to track down the cell phone. This is why you know something's not right, because when they dealt with these boys, these white boys that he went on this trip with, when the family dealt with them, particularly the father, let me put this up here. They were giving him the runaround. Jax, Wyatt, these are some of the names of these individuals. They lied and made the father think that, oh, we don't have anything. And then come to find out they had the phone. I've talked about that on this channel. I've made that known on this channel. Thank you for coming over, everybody in the chat room. Put sevens in the chat room if you can hear my microphone nice and crispy tonight. I'm going to take my time with this. Don't go anywhere. I've got lots of information for you that I want to present to you tonight. One of them right here is I want you to really think about how this whole thing took place. So let's go back to July 7th, which was a Tuesday of this month. Okay. They heard from law enforcement on July 7th, which was on a Tuesday. The last real contact that this family had since July, I got my notes here, since July 7th, the most up-to-date contact was days after Nolan Wells' body was found expired. A week had went by. A whole complete week went by, ladies and gentlemen. And they didn't hear anything from this sheriff's department. The sheriff himself jumped the gun by making people think, oh, well, this was just a routine drowning of this young man, just a routine drowning. The sheriff himself had jumped the gun before he even had his information all together. We're talking about Mississippi, a place where a black child was arrested. Look at this right here. In Mississippi jail and prosecutes they jailed and prosecute a 10-year-old black child for peeing outside. A black child in Mississippi, not in the 1960s, not in the 1950s, not in the 1940s, but in current date. You understand what I'm saying, everybody? Put those sevens in the chat room. a 10-year-old black, this was a headline. What I'm reading to you right here was actually a news headline. A Mississippi jailed and prosecuted a 10-year-old black child for peeing outside. Now, why did he pee outside? That doesn't really matter. The fact is, he was arrested. Now, all of these white folks, these white kids that he went on that boat trip with, they all come back with different stories talking about, oh, Nolan, he didn't want to come back with us. He wanted to stay with the girl. Okay. Katie was her name. Katie says, no. He told me that he was going back on the boat. They say, no, he was going to stay on the island with the girl. Conflicting stories. And then, as I said before, they've got the cell phones. So if he was leaving the boat to stay on the island, why did you take his cell phone? And why did you take his keys? And then when the father, the family, the mother, and the father went to retrieve such items, they looked them in the face and act like, one, they didn't know what they were talking about, and two, like they didn't have anything. And then all of a sudden, they were able to produce these items. You tell me what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. Put the sevens in the chat room if you can hear. You do not want to miss anything that I'm going to be breaking down for you tonight. You don't want to miss anything because I've got some glaring details. So as I said before, a whole week went by. They never contacted the family. Okay. After finding his body. Now, they didn't have a sit down with any law enforcement. This is a shame. They didn't have a sit down with the DA, in this case, Mrs. Angel Myers. I want to put her up here again and again because this woman, from what Brother Carlos told us, is not to be trusted. She has a history of being biased in other situations with black people. Okay? It wasn't until July 15th that they had a sit down with the DA to even discuss the potential of a grand jury. Prior to that, they didn't reach out to the family. They didn't tell the family what they were doing or where the case was at. We've already have heard over and over again that the mother make it very clear to us that they didn't contact and let the family know what was exactly going on, even though they kept telling us we have to take our time figuring out what was going on. You arrest a 10-year-old black child for peeing and jail that child, but you don't jail any of these folks that were involved. They were out there drinking, out there getting high, as been reported. And I got a bunch of other stuff to tell you that is in violation of this whole situation. Then, now check this out. On the thumbnail of this video, it says 72 hours. The reason why I bring that up, because residents of Mississippi, when there's a crime committed that could affect their family member, the police departments are supposed to provide the family members, in this case, the Nolan family, the Nolan Wells family, his mother, his father. I don't care, stepfather or not, it doesn't matter. She was supposed to be notified. They were supposed to be notified within 72 hours, what they call a follow-up, a notification follow-up to what's going on with the case. Now, what am I saying? I'm not saying that they're supposed to get the complete police report, but they're supposed to get something of that measure. Let me show you this right here. Getting the incident report under Mississippi Code 99-43-8, the family has the right to receive a copy of the initial incident report. That's what I mean by 72 hours. Within Mississippi law, they're supposed to get some sort of incident report. I'm not saying the whole complete report because they still should be investigating, but the family should get something. And they have not received anything within the threshold of the 72-hour threshold that the state of Mississippi, under these law enforcement agencies, were supposed to provide them. I'm going to say it again. The family has the right to receive a copy of the initial incident report free of charge upon request, as long as it does not violate specific active confidential law. However, the statute does not force the police to automatically mail or complete the full investigation file within 72 hours. Well, of course not, but you're still supposed to provide them with something within that 72-hour mark, which they did not. Let me play something for you here. We're going to handle this surgically tonight. Okay, I'm coming. I meant to go live last night, but I'm glad I'm going live on a Friday night. And I meant to put this out, but you know what? It's best that I put it out in the way that I'm putting it out here. Let me play this for you. Check this out.
Investigators since what happened last week?
So that was actually clarified in today's meeting. The DA's office wanted to take over that communications because they do have a victim advocate.
Boom. The victim advocate doesn't mean anything. They're basically the PR people for the police department. They're going to do everything to make the police department look good in the situation. This is the one that I want to play for you. I'm sorry, everybody. Here we go. Listen to Crump's, one of the lawyers that's working with Benjamin Crump. No matter what you think of Benjamin Crump, we can criticize him, say he's an ambulance chaser, what have you. But the bottom line, this family needs justice. This is the part I want y'all to hear. Excuse me.
We're talking about the process, and they're with the DA. Were any affidavits or possible prosecutions or criminal actions presented to her to be signed eventually, or do we know anything right now?
And as she said, her role is confidential at this point, but so she can maintain her prosecutorial independence.
Talking about the DA.
Obviously, I stressed to her very strenuously to say, we want you to zealously, you and the sheriff's department, to zealously investigate this matter, and Christine and Elmore share their life experiences too. We know through our lived experiences, our life experiences, and she said that's not how our office operates, but we know in America, in the South, certain people are investigated differently. And
Facts.
We shared that with her. We didn't
tell the truth.
Ask that she understand our perspective, but we said we should mutually try to understand each other's perspectives, where we're coming from. And we agreed that we will try to do that.
Where are we at in the investigation, the autopsy? We were supposed to get it back Friday.
Well, no, we like we said, we're waiting, let the doctors do what they do. They ain't got their autopsy back neither, so we're trying to get it right. And then when we get it, we're going to share it. Yes, ma'am.
On Friday in the press conference, you said that you hear on the video Nolan saying,
yes,
"Give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing?"
That's what a witness told us, and that's what we reported out. Then another witness had come forward and said, no, that was his voice. We have other witnesses who said there were other altercations. So as Mr. Hurt said, we're trying to go through it all and so forth. And we'll be even more careful to say this is what a witness told us in the future.
And so your team hasn't been able to look into that to confirm whether it was or was not Nolan.
No.
Now they're talking about the social media posts that came out of Crump's camp, particularly the video, the picture of the swimming pool incident. And Crump said that he made it very clear that that picture from that situation was not on the day in question. I know a lot of people ran with that. When I did that video, I was responsible enough to say that we don't know if that happened on the day in question. It's questionable. We have to find out more details. But this is the part that I should have been playing. I thought that was the one. Here's the one. One of the lawyers is going to say something about the 72-hour that they were supposed to give this family some sort of report. and they failed to do so within Mississippi law. Let me play this right here.
Investigators since what happened last week?
So that was actually clarified in today's meeting. The DA's office wanted to take over that communications because they do have a victim advocate, which,
as I said to you all, this is all BS. The only reason why the Nolan family or the Wells family had any contact with the DA, this woman right here, Myers, who does not have a good favorable record when it comes to dealing with issues around black people. And the judge will tell you that in just a moment. This is the issue. Miss Christina, she reached out with her and the husband. Okay. They would have never had this meeting had they not made the approach first, which is a damn shame that they even had to do this. When I told you a whole week went by, they hadn't talked to this family since they found Nolan's body going back to July 7th. He goes missing on July, what was it? He goes missing 4th of July. They find him, the body is, they find his body July 7th. Law enforcement on July 7th, Tuesday, the last time they had contact was after they found Nolan's body. July 15th, which is just passed us by, the family hadn't had any contact. That's my whole point. They let all this time go by without telling them anything. Let me continue playing this part.
I appreciate, but of course that wasn't what she, took responsibility and accountability for. But we were not communicated with that information.
You hear what she said? We were not communicated that information.
So for us, like I said before, the last time we actually spoke to someone with the sheriff's department was last Tuesday. That was via text message that I initiated.
Boom! She initiated. I'm sorry, they didn't find his body on July 7th. Law enforcement, she had contact with law enforcement, which she initiated on July the 7th, Tuesday. Let me correct some things here. This is a problem. What are they trying to hide? What is the games that are being played here, ladies and gentlemen? Let's go back into this. Let you hear this. She initiated, it was Nolan Wells' mother. I want y'all to recognize what I'm telling you. It was Nolan Wells' mother who initiated the contact with the DA, the contact with the sheriff's department, because up until then, they just froze the family out. A family that's grieving, a family that's asking for answers. Yet they can arrest 10-year-old black kids for peeing outside. They had no problem prosecuting black children, but these kids that Nolan was out there with that were drinking and doing all sort of things that's now coming to the light, none of them have been arrested. None of them have been under any interrogation, as we have not been told this either way. Let's go back to this.
Just asking for an update. So that's the biggest thing is, I appreciate that she took accountability for saying, hey, that was actually our doing. But, we have a setup now. And so the hope is that we'll have that open lines of communication.
So you feel like this was useful
And
today?
Attorney Hertz has a comment on that there.
Let me just say that under the law in Mississippi, a victim is entitled within, I think it's 72 hours to get an incident report and to have certain information shared.
Boom. Didn't I say that, everybody? Put sevens in the chat room. I know what I'm talking about here. I know what I'm doing here tonight. Okay? An incident report within 72 hours. It doesn't mean they get the whole report, but they should get some portion of a report under Mississippi law, as the lawyer just said, 9943-8. The family has the right to receive a copy of the initial incident report free of charge upon request, as they obviously have been trying to find out what's going on with the investigation, but they have not voluntarily given the family the information that they have the right to have under the law.
It's been more than 72 hours, and that's part of the meeting here today, to start getting the incident report and all that information that we came here to collect, as well as listen to the district.
My question to everybody listening to this program tonight: why is it that when they went to the DA's office to meet with Angel Myers, the DA of Jackson County, why didn't the DA and the sheriff's department have an initial report or something preliminary prepared for the family to be able to know what is going on so far in the case? As you heard Benjamin Crump say, they don't even have their autopsy report ready to go. They're still, Ben Crump and their independent investigators are still waiting. So we're going to get a plethora of information when these autopsies drop. There's something that does not make sense. Another thing that I want to let people realize, and this has been brought up, this is very important to keep this in mind too. There was drinking and all this talk about a boat taking on water. That boat should have been snatched up by the sheriff's department, and it should be tested for blood, for anything that could be linked to Nolan Willis unaliving. But by them not taking the boat that they were on, that gives everyone time to scrub that boat clean, do whatever they got to do to make it look like nothing went down. Everything about this is suspicious as 1, 2, 3, go. What do you all think about what I'm saying to you? It's suspicious. Let's continue.
Attorney and what she had to say.
Did you get that report?
No, not yet. We are working with them to say there need to be better communications with the clients and so forth. So the big thing.
No, Benjamin Crump. There needs to be better communication. There should have been better communication from the get-go. You see what? Did you hear what's going on here? They were not communicating with the family to let them know. I'm telling you right now, if the Nolan family, if the Willis family, Christina and Elmo, who I think Elmo is the husband, imagine if they were a white family, would they get this type of derelict of duty from the DA's office or from the sheriff's department to get information that they were duly had the right to get under the laws of Mississippi? Would that be the case, y'all? I want y'all to think about that. As I have already said in previous videos, let me put this up here. I said in previous videos, what if Nolan was white? Wouldn't we see arrest? Wouldn't we see arrest if it was a situation where you had black young men going on a fishing trip or going on a trip to an island or boating, and a white kid doesn't come back alive, but all the black kids come back alive? What do you think would happen? How do you think society would look at that? How do you think they would judge that? We know how people see our people, but I want y'all to take a good look at what I'm showing you here. And the games that are always potentially played when it comes to our people. Let's continue.
That we know there's going to be a grand jury into the death of Nolan Wells, and number 2, that we're going to have a mutual inspection of Nolan's cell phone. We just want to make sure everybody else's cell phone is also being downloaded. Thank you.
Now let me go here and I want to say something to everybody. This whole thing is crazy, y'all. Let me read something else to you. The Mississippi residents are supposed to receive notification within 72 hours as a follow-up when there is a crime, right? I said that to you. It has been at least, 13 to 14 days now, and no report was given to them. When they met with the DA's office, it was about 11 days when they met with the DA. Now it's about, 14 days. They still haven't received any report. The sheriff's department was not sharing information with this family, y'all. With the Nolan family at all. The Nolan body was found on July 6th. So let me say it again. His body was found on July 6th. They contacted the family July 7th. Didn't have any contact with the family from that time until July 15th because the family had to make the contact with them. The Nolan family didn't hear anything from the investigators on July 8th, Tuesday, when then nothing until July 15th. They still have not heard from the sheriff's department themselves. They went to the DA on the 15th. Since last Tuesday, July 7th, they haven't heard a damn thing from this so-called sheriff's department in this Jackson County. They're cooking this up, y'all. This thing is cooked. They're cooking this. I want to read this part of my notes. The family had to reach out to law enforcement by text, not a phone call, not a document that's been sent to them or anything like that, but by text message, because they couldn't reach out to them any other way, because they weren't responding to this family. I don't care what anybody says. This whole thing is ridiculous. Let's go into the other details. You probably have heard these details, and I'm just going to go right through them real quick. So we know that there was something fishy going on this island we call Horn Island, right? And you guys heard some of the things that have been put out there already, but let me go over it right now. According to the GPS data, the boat left Horn Island at 4:31 p.m. and returned to its original departure dock. It then traveled into Fort Bayou around 5:52 p.m. before returning to the dock at 6:06 p.m. Am I right, y'all? Later that evening, the boat, because you remember y'all all saw these things right here. Remember this? See, these are all the breakdown. This is the island. Look at the blue lines right there. You guys have seen some of this already on 7/4/2026 at 744. A vessel arrived at the Camelo Railroad. Right? On 7/4/2026, 1631, the vessel departed West Tip Horn Island. Vessel was towed miles before normal operations resumed. Remember the West Tip Island, that's the area that they said that Nolan was found. His body was found to be dead. That's the western tip of the island. And what you're looking at right here is an actual helicopter or plane shot from the United Cajun Navy. And I'm going to get back to the United Cajun Navy because the white guy that you've seen on social media that had the beard that gave an interview, when they're trying to make claims that Nolan was drunk, that he was getting high, that he had substances in his body. Of course, you need a autopsy report to ferret all that out. But I'm going to let you read to you what that Cajun Navy volunteer rescue said about Nolan as it relates to people making these assumptions that he was drunk. Now, of course, they had beer in their hand. That's another issue that I need y'all to look at too, because if these kids were underage, the drinking age in Mississippi is 21 years of age. If they weren't illegally able to have those beers, the individuals that were driving them on these boats were in violation of maritime law when it comes to minors. I'm going to get to that tonight. Don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. I'm bringing it to you tonight. Shout out to everybody in the chat room that's here. I appreciate you. If I don't shout you out 1,000 times over, don't be angry with me. I appreciate all of you out there. It's just that I have so much material and I need to methodically and slowly bring this material out and stay focused at all times. But I appreciate you all. I give you a clap. I'm bringing it to you tonight. Don't you go nowhere. Get your popcorn, get your drinks, your smokes, whatever. But don't you go nowhere. And I appreciate you all. So I want y'all to understand what I'm saying here. There was some other things going on. And the reason why we know that is because the dude that came out, Shepard, I think is his name, Tristan, who claimed to be friends or best friend with Nolan, and the family said they don't know him from a can of Ajax. That's the dude that came out and said nobody would ever hurt Nolan. But then we got him on audio. I'm playing that tonight, saying that people were drinking and getting high. Now, we never said that Nolan was drinking and getting high. But he said these other kids that he was around were drinking. But then he says, well, they would never hurt me. Then he claims that he's the best friend. The mama says she don't know the kid from a can of Ajax or paint. They don't know him. They don't know they don't know nothing about him. So if he's a best friend, why would he not know the family? You know, when you have a best friend, you bring him to meet your family. You kicking it with your buddy who's your best friend. Your family would know who he is if he's your best friend.
Tell the truth.
So it's getting to a point where I don't know if we can believe anything that these people are telling us. Let me know if you can hear me clear. Hit those sevens in the chat room. Get the algorithms cranking. Let's go back over here again. So you got this Horn Island. His body was found at the northwest tip of the island, right there where you see the diagram on your screen right here. Ocean Springs over there. Biloxi is over there to the far left. Horn Island right there. Body found way over here, which would be what you see on this picture right here. See, that's the actual. This is the satellite version of it. And then here's a little bit further version of it. And then here's some more details right here, everybody. So as I said before, around 5:52 p.m. before returning to the dock at 6:06 p.m. And I appreciate you all here tonight. I really do. Late that evening, the boat went to the Fort Bayou boat lunch at 7:19 p.m. according to the MSDMR report. I guess that's their maritime report. From there, it traveled overland, towed by a vehicle. Because remember, the mother, who's a judge, claimed that, well, my son was on the boat. The boat took on water. It took on some problems. But where was Nolan during the time that the boat took on some problems? Because they never said that Nolan got off the boat. You hear what I'm saying, everybody? They never said that Nolan got off the boat because the boat was getting flooded with water. They never said that's why he got off the boat. And if he got off the boat and the boat was flooding with water, why would he leave his cell phone on a boat that's floating with water? Because now people are saying that, well, on some of these boats, they've got these little things where you can put your cell phones and your belongings in some kind of slots so that they don't get damaged by water. Well, if the boat is sinking, the boat is having problems, and if Nolan was in that boat, why would he leave his cell phone and keys, his possessions, on a boat that was taking on water? And then the question is, you don't hear anybody saying that the boat took on water and Nolan was in the boat with us. Where was Nolan when this whole thing happened? Well, let's go back to this right here. As I said, the Bayou boat lunched at 7:19 p.m. according to that MSDMR report. From there, it traveled over land. It was towed by a vehicle to Biloxi, Mississippi. The MSDMR report indicated that the boat owner, his mother, see, the boat owner is in trouble, y'all, And I'm going to show you proof why. The boat owner and his mother and one other individual who was reportedly with Wells on the day of the incident have cooperated with investigations. But this is what the problem is, everybody. Where is Wells? Nobody is telling you where he was at. All we got to go on is him talking to a girl who has already shot a hole in their story because she said, as I've said, and as you have heard already, she said that no, he was planning to go back to the boat. And so if he was planning to go back to a boat, which boat would that be? Why did they leave him there? If the boat took on water and that's why everybody had to get the hell out of there, why did Nolan get left behind? And why did they still have his phone? Somewhere in between there is the truth and the lie is all up in there. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? The lie is all up in this tonight. Nothing but there's something that does not make sense here. Now, let me go back over here. After I read that to you, check this out. Now, all of a sudden, we got the FBI wanting to get involved, right? So now we got, let me see this right here. Let me fix something. There we go. We're going to fix this real good, y'all. There we go. Put that, like so. Boom. Boom. And boom. Fix like so. Now, as part of that involvement, Leadbelly said that the FBI, now Ledbetter is the guy that was part of the rescue, the Navy, the Cajun Navy rescue. I'm going to get to him in a minute. Ledbetter said that the FBI agents are assisting with the forensic exam. No, Ledbetter is the sheriff. Let me correct what I'm saying here.
Tell the truth.
Ledbetter is the sheriff who already jumped out the window and tried to tell us that, oh, this ain't nothing but a routine drowning. That's Ledbetter is not the guy who was involved in the rescue mission. Ledbetter is the sheriff. He says that the FBI agents are assisting with the forensic examination of the digital evidence in the investigators have collected during the investigation. So he says, everybody. So he is saying. This whole thing doesn't smell right because guess what? Now we've got the audio of them talking about the boat taking on water. And they said when they were asked, is everybody safe? And they said, yes, everybody's on board and everybody is safe. Excuse me. So then what the hell happened between them saying that everybody was on board like Nolan? What happened between him being on board the boat and them saying everybody was okay to him now all of a sudden being gone? Check this out. Listen to this. This was from Hype, Video Hype.
And our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking.
Now, as you know, we've been following the story, and what we have now noticed is that the call looks to be made in the same area Nolan's body was found 2 days later on Monday. As local outlet WLOX stated, around 8:45 a.m., Sheriff Ledbetter confirmed authorities received a call reporting a body found at the northwestern tip of Horn Island. The body was discovered by a U.S. Park Service ranger.
We're at the west tip of Horn.
We're at the west tip of Horn. I just want to be surgical about this, everybody. This is what they said. I'm going to play something else for you that opens up the door to what's really going on here. So they're talking about the west tip of Horn, right? I showed you guys that right here. The body was found at the northwest tip of Horn. We're at the west tip of Horn, and let me play this.
And our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking.
No.
Now they say that their pump stopped working and they're sinking. That's where Nolan was found. You see something? It doesn't smell right. Nolan's body was said to be found at the what? The northern west tip. This guy, this is the actual audio from the incident is saying that we're sinking. So what the hell happened? If they were all on the boat, why did nobody see what happened to Nolan? Listen.
We're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking.
Now, as you know, we've been following the story, and
Now, this is what I want to do. Being surgical here. Now I want to play. That wasn't the audio that I was thinking that I was playing, but it goes perfect with this sequence right now. So you hear them saying that their boat is sinking, their pump is not working. But here's the video or the audio. You're going to listen to audio right now that I've got where there's clearly saying that everybody is safe on the boat, even though they're taking on water. I want y'all to hear this. So then what the hell happened to Nolan between the damn time that they were having this emergency and they had already said that everybody was fine, safe at that time? I want y'all to hear this loud and clear. Hear this right now. Listen.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Boom. That's a part of that video that I played. They say we're sinking, and then someone says to them in their communications, is everybody safe? Everybody okay on board? And you clearly hear them saying, yes, everybody is on board. So then what the hell happened to Nolan Wells? Can somebody answer that? What happened to Nolan Wells then in this situation? I'm going to play this again and let it go all the way through. Hang on.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
it still, however, leaves many people wondering what happened to Wells between 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. when his friends say they last saw him at 3 p.m.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah.
I want y'all to put sevens in the chat room, and those listening, put your mental sevens out there. If you clearly heard when they said we're sinking, and they said, is everybody on board safe? And they said yes. So if everybody on board was still safe, even though the boat was taking on water, then where the hell happened to Nolan Willis? They said that Nolan decided to stay on the island. The girl that he met, Katie, already had said, which puts a monkey wrench in all of their statements as it relates to that statement, should I be more correct in saying. Then the question is, what was going on with this young man right here? Why is this young man not alive? If this young man said that he was going back to the boat, then did they sink? Did the boat take on water when Nolan wasn't on board? Or did the ship or the boat take on water when he was already on board with them? So therefore, what happened? Therefore, what did they see? Because right now, all we see is the media interviewing people like one of his black friends right here, William. We see them interviewing everybody black. Oh, do you think it was racial? See, that's one of the games that they're playing. But why is it that they haven't had any of these kids? Because his friend right here isn't the reason why he's missing. This is his friend who's supposed to be his best friend who said he was alive when I saw him at 4 o'clock. So then you got to ask yourself, what's really going on? Because I know that his friend had this interview on TMZ that I thought was not a good interview, but he cleaned some things up when he came on CNN. And he said out of his own mouth on the CNN interview with his mama, along with Mrs. Nolan Wells' mother. But his best friend came on there with his mother on CNN and said he know for a fact that Nolan Wells would never leave his cell phone in the way that he did. And everybody keeps skirting away from that. All the naysayers, black, white, and otherwise, y'all keep skirting away from that fact that doesn't make any sense. And the kids who had the damn phone, those boys that had the phone, the keys, didn't even want to initially give it to his father and mother when they came around looking for it. They lied. Let me play you some of that CNN interview, because in that interview, and I think people slept on that interview, a lot of stuff was revealed that had not been revealed in other interviews that the young man did. You've got Nolan Wells' mother. You have his best friend with his mother in this interview, and they opened up. They said some things that is disturbing to me about this case. Let's go.
Was mysteriously found dead. Nolan Wells was found in the water near an island where he had taken a boat trip with friends on the 4th of July. And tonight, new clues are emerging as to how he separated from the group. One of his friends says that he met a girl.
Thank you, everybody, for being here.
To stay behind.
They met that day, and it was kind of one of those things. It did come off that day that he really did like her, but that was the only time they've ever hung out, was at Horn Island on July 4th.
Tonight, we're also learning more about a video that seemed to go viral, purporting to show an altercation on the island involving Wells. We know police had been investigating an alleged altercation, but that same friend told ABC it was not Nolan in that video. His family demanding transparency in the investigation. And tonight, the sheriff in Jackson County, Mississippi, says Nolan Wells' family deserves a thorough and factual investigation. That's exactly what they're going to get. Joining me now is the attorney representing the family of Nolan Wells, Benjamin Crump. I'm also joined by Nolan's mother, Christine Wansley, her friend, Tashima Hands, along with Tashima's son, and Nolan's friend, Javon Williams. Thank you all so much for being here. This has just hung so heavy on all of our hearts. Miss Christine, how are you and your family holding up?
A lot of praying, a lot of just leaning on each other in this moment and just taking it day by day. That's really all we can do right now. It's been hard. You know, every day is different. And really every second is different, which is something people need to understand. Grief is not one emotion, right? It's multiple emotions, and they're all happening at the same time. And so it's just like 1 minute I can be I can be okay like this and I can talk about it. And then the next minute I'm breaking down in tears because it's a constant reminder, because if I'm being honest, we really just have not had time to fully grieve with everything that's going on.
This is your baby, and everyone must understand that. And just day by day, have you been hearing anything from investigators?
No, the last time I spoke with an investigator, it was Major Smith, and I had reached out to him via text message. That was
boom. Remember, she said that in the press conference that they gave this week. You see how this is a complete shame? This is a complete sham. If they were a white family, would this be the case? Would they be so derelict and not communicate? And still up to the time she did this interview on CNN and with the Laura Coates show, they still haven't received their 72-hour reports that they should have received. What's going on, Yalpo? I appreciate you coming over and joining us and giving me a super chat, brother. I appreciate that. Let me see right here. I wish with all my soul they would stop calling them his friends. Yeah, they're not his friends, because friends wouldn't leave you like that. Stop calling him his friends, even if they did not do anything to him. I kind of agree with that. Let's go. Yeah, I agree with that, Yapo.
Other than that, I have not spoken with.
Thank you for the super chat, brother.
That has been that much time.
Thank you
passed.
for the super chat.
I want to come to you because
okay, here we go.
You're his friend. You were on the island on the 4th. You were on a different boat. Do you recall seeing him at all that day?
Yes, ma'am. I did see him when I was out there on the island.
Can you tell me what you saw? Does anything seem strange to you about the difference that people are saying of how he was separated from the group?
No, ma'am. I don't think that Nolan would say, "Hey, bro, I'm staying with this girl on the island. Y'all go ahead and go back," without even bringing it, like not even asking to get his phone back. You know what I mean?
Boom. I think this young man, when he did that interview on TMZ, I think he was nervous. Everybody kept going on about, oh, he didn't say anything about there's racial. So what? The football coach out there said he didn't think anything was racial. But then again, it doesn't matter if you don't think anything is racial. It's what's happening in the moment when some shit is happening. So in this interview, I think the young man was more candid and said some things that I think opens the door to the suspicion, because this is his real best friend. This is the one that's his best friend that the family knows. The other guy, Shepard, Trish, whatever the hell his name is, the family say they don't know him. He said, you heard him out of his own mouth, that he would never just leave like that just to hang out with a girl, and would never leave his personal belongings behind. So what's really going on? You just heard the audio that I played with you, where they all of a sudden they said everybody was fine. So then if everybody was fine, what happened to Nolan? Because that emergency was at the north tip of Horn Island. At the north tip of Horn Island, where they already said they found his body. I'm emphasizing this again. Body found at the northwest tip of Horn Island.
I don't think that any of that.
What makes you so sure about that? Because I mean, obviously you've been with him, you've spent a lot of time with him. Did you know him to be someone to leave his phone, or even say, "You guys go without me"?
Never. I've never known Nolan to stay back while his friends leave. He's always been a guy where if he rode with you, he's going to come back with you. That's always been every.
You hear what he's saying here, everybody? What's going on, Afro Punk?
Friend of his, Trayston, also told ABC that video people have been talking about, that was
Jay the informant,
some sort of altercation. It did not involve Nolan. He says it was actually him yelling in the video, and that you and a family member were holding him back because he'd been in a fight. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am. We were calming Trayston down in that video where he said, "Give me my effing phone back." It sounds like him. So,
this is the key thing right here. The young brother says it sound like Trish. Now, Trish is the one who came out and claimed that he was buddy with Nolan. The family said they don't know him from a camp at Ajax, right? Now, Trish is the one that Nolan's real best friend is saying that was his voice, but he didn't say 100%. He says he thinks it is. Thinking it is different from knowing it is. Let's play this again.
It did not involve Nolan. He says it was actually him yelling in the video, and that you and a family member were holding him back because he'd been in a fight. Is that accurate?
yes, ma'am. We were calming Trayston down in that video where he said, "Give me my effing phone back." It sounds like him. So I'm pretty sure that he was right on that. But
Javon, I'm so sorry.
He said it sounds like him. I'm pretty sure he was right about that. So he's saying that was not Nolan's voice saying, "Give me my effing phone back." He's saying it's the guy Trish who claimed that nobody would ever hurt Nolan, according to his friend Trish. Something about this still doesn't ring right with me, but the young man said that. Let's continue.
Think about what you must be going through and thinking about what's happened to Nolan. I mean, you mentioned a phone. Tashima, a huge question so many people have is why he would have left his cell phone behind. And you say you were the person who actually went and retrieved that phone for the family. How did you get your hands on the phone? Where was it?
Here we go.
That is correct. Christine called me and told me, "Hey, where are the boys? Nolan hasn't been heard from since such and such time. Where are your boys?" I said, "Well, Javon is with his girlfriend, and I just spoke with Jalen, and they are headed to downtown."
Javon Williams.
I was literally getting ready to get in the shower to go downtown as well.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Well, Nolan hasn't been." So I instantly called with Christine on the phone, Javon. Javon said no, he hadn't seen Nolan since early on the island.
So right here, this sister right here, the father, let me correct some things. The father went to the house to retrieve the keys that they lied about. She is the one that retrieved the phone from them. This sister right here, who I guess is friends with Nolan's mother because of the fact that the son, her son, has a relationship with Nolan and the family. But wait until you hear what she says in the process of retrieving it, everybody. Something isn't right.
And he was like, what? Are y'all serious? We was like, yes. And so Christine intervened in the conversation, said, Nolan has not been heard from since he left the island. So Javon was like, well, that's when I seen him. I haven't seen him since then. Again, everybody go their separate ways. So I then hang up from Javon because obviously there's nothing he can say to tell me anything. So then Jalen, I call him. Mm-hmm. Jalen did not answer the phone. Christine again is on the phone. Jalen did not answer the phone. LeBaron, I called. He didn't answer the phone. I called LeBaron, which is their other friend, LeBaron Broomfield. He answered. He said, Jalen is in the gas station. Hold on. So he said, hey, Jalen, Mom on the phone. So he was like, Jalen, what's up, Mom? What's going on? I was like, hey, have y'all heard from Nolan? They said, no, we have not heard from Nolan.
But where was the phone?
So I was like, well, okay. So that's when we started tracking the phone. Well, for Christine, it said one place, but for them on Snapchat, it showed another place. So that's the place we went to. And it showed that everybody that was in the house, it was like a lot of people there. Like, it was, I'm not familiar with all the kids. I only know like one there.
The white boys that was in the house.
At what a lot of people were at. So that's how we knew where to go to.
Wow.
They were all there. They were sitting there, lights off, watching TV.
Did they immediately give you the phone? Because knowing that phone was there.
It took about 15. They did. They gave me the phone, but it took about 15 minutes to get the phone. Because I even asked, I'm like, did y'all have to walk back to Horn Island to get the phone? Or like, where's the phone? Because it took so long.
Did you hear what she just said, y'all?
Information is power.
This sister right here who assisted Christine, his mother, Nolan's mother, just said when she found out where the phone was at, it was a lot of these kids in a house with the lights turned down, looking at TV or whatever they were doing. And it took them 15 minutes to give them the phone. Why would it take them 15 minutes to give them the phone? We already know, listen to me, everybody. We already know, according to the father, Elmo here, that when he went to retrieve keys from one of these guys, Jax or Wyatt, whatever white boy, one of these white boys that were involved in this whole situation, that they were acting like they didn't even have keys, that they were acting like they didn't know what he was talking about, and they lied to him in his face. And they had the item, which would be his keys, after acting like they had nothing, ladies and gentlemen, nothing of his belongings. Now in this situation, you have this black woman who decides to go retrieve the cell phone that they finally got their hands on, that we've been told by through the mother, from the mother, that there's missing text messages that were deleted that did not make sense. His best friend, I believe this is Jalen Williams, he said, last time I saw Nolan alive, it was at 4:00. He said to us that he would never leave without his phone. As a matter of fact, he would never leave the people that he comes somewhere with just for a girl. This is a young man that knows Nolan because he's his best friend and he spent time with him and he knows more about him than us in terms of his behavior patterns. Do y'all understand where I'm going at tonight? Put those sevens in and get the Alvin rhythms cranking over here because we're breaking it down tonight. We're breaking it down tonight. We're breaking it down tonight. The best friend said it took them 15 minutes to retrieve the phone and give her what she had a right to have to get back to Nolan's family. Something don't smell right here. Can't nobody tell me that this smells right. Put sevens in these chat room if you're with me as we continue. You already heard. I'm gonna show it again. I'm gonna play it again, or play what we have left of it. The friend of Jalen Williams, which was Nolan Willis's best friend, worked along with his mother, Christine, to retrieve the phone that we've been hearing about. And she said when she went to these people's, these boys' home, these white boys that he went out there with, that it took them 15 minutes to give her a damn phone that they knew they had possession of. Is that the behavior of a person who is not guilty? Is that the behavior of people who are supposed to be your best friend, supposed to be your friends? No, these are not friends. Because real friends would never do something like that. Why didn't these real friends, these so-called friends, they're not real friends. Why did these so-called friends, especially the three of them, why didn't they go to Nolan's mother and father and say, hey, we got Nolan's phone, we got his keys, here you go? Why did they have to trace these suckers down? Why did the family have to? I want the naysayers and the critics out there who claim that, oh, this is a sham. Oh, you black folks have jumped to conclusions. I want y'all to answer that question. Why did they have to retrieve items that belong to Nolan from these people? And these people did not want to readily give them the items that they had. I want y'all suckers. I want the suckers and the tap dancers and the buck dancers out there, whoever you are, to answer that question. Let's continue.
There, they were all there. They were sitting there, lights off, watching TV.
Did they immediately give you the phone? Because knowing that phone was there.
It took about 15.
Right. Why didn't they call the police?
But it took about 15 minutes to get the phone. Because
15 minutes.
Like, did y'all have to walk back to Horn Island to get the phone, or like, where's the phone? Because it took so long when they said it was when Wyatt told me it was in his truck. It took him so long to get the phone back to me.
Christine,
so when they brought the phone back.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tashima. I want to hear that.
Kashima's breaking it down.
When they
Go
brought
on.
the phone, after I said something about it, he was like, well, she's going to get it. I was like, who's going to get it? He's like, the girl's going to get the phone. So I'm assuming, I don't want to say the wrong name because I don't know these kids' names.
Sure.
And I know how I feel about my child, Ash. But one of the girls at the house, I'm pretty sure it was Katie. Her name was Katie Diaz or something like that. She brought me the phone.
Oh yeah,
Christine.
That's this girl right here. Let's stop it right here. Let's stop. See, we breaking it down scientifically tonight, y'all. The girl in question is right here. This is the girl that they claim that Nolan left them for her, that he decided to stay on the island because he wanted to see her right here. That he decided to stay on the island to hang out with Katie. But then Katie says, no, Nolan talked to me for a little while, but his goal was to get back on the boat. So he didn't stay here on the island with me. While his sucker free, no, they're not sucker free, they suckers. While his sucker so-called friends lied, to me it's a lie, and said that, oh, he didn't want to stay with us. He wanted to go back to the island and hang out with her. Yet we got this audio where they claim that everybody was safe on the boat. Which is it, man? Which was it?
It still, however, leaves many people wondering what happened to Wells between 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. when his friends say they last saw him at 3 p.m.
We're sinking. Can y'all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
It's still
They're asked, is everybody on board in good health otherwise? And they say, yeah, everybody is in good health. So then where the hell was Nolan around that time when they said that everybody was in good health? Because all of a sudden they go home, Nolan's no longer alive. Let's continue.
And the phone and the 15-minute window. And again, I know you just said, Tashima, you're not sure of all the names that are involved here, but just hearing about looking for this phone. Did you have concerns about the phone when you got it back?
Absolutely.
What were those concerns?
Just because when my sister and I went through the phone, it was just too clean. And I'm sure Javon can.
Woo! She said when they went to the phone, it was too clean. Do you understand what they're breaking down here? The phone was too clean. They knew that the phone had been tampered with, which means they knew that that Nolan isn't the one that tampered with the phone. Now let me read what this brother is saying right here, and this is a good one. He says, the brother says right here, my question is, what caused the pump? Yeah, the pump to break. Who was operating the boat? Moreover, what agency responded to the call for help? Good point. I'm going to get to that because there's something called maritime law. And guess what? The people that were operating the boat, they're liable under maritime law. If those kids were on the boat drinking underage, doing drugs underage, if the people that operated that boat didn't operate that boat safely and caused something to happen that could have potentially caused Nolan to lose his life, they're liable under maritime law. And I will bring up maritime law breakdown to you in just a moment. Just give me a little bit of time to cook this. I'm slow cooking this late night. Slow cooking it. We're going to give you some answers to that. Let me see this right here. We have, so is that the same Katie from the island and he was talking to her, or he was talking to her, or this just no, it's the same Katie. It's the same Katie because that's the Katie that said that Nolan said that he was planning to get back on the boat with the guys. She's the one he was talking to. She's the one that was able to get them the phone because the rest of them suckers were acting like they didn't know anything. And on top of that, she said it took them 15 minutes to give them that which did not belong to them. Another thing that Judge Carlos Moore said, that some of these kids should have been brought in just, first of all, for withholding his personal items that did not belong to them. You know why? Because if they were holding the items to give it back to them, back to Nolan, then why didn't they give these items back to the family that they knew was grieving? You know why they didn't give it back to the family? You know why they stayed away from the family? Because they knew their family would have questions that they want answered as to what did you see, what happened, when, where, and how. And these kids know that something is unkosher about what happened to Nolan, and they didn't want to be in a situation for these parents to ask those type of serious questions. I want to thank you for that super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you, my sister.
Thank you for the super chat.
Miranda says this. Thank you, Information Man, for covering this story so unbiasedly. My heart goes out to the family. Thank you. I'll be doing some Umar Johnson content this Sunday. But like I've said before, we're going to cover Umar Johnson over here, but we still got to cover other issues that are pertinent. Because right now, to me, what happened to Nolan and getting answers to him is even more important than Umar Johnson. Because we know Umar Johnson ain't nothing but a low-down manipulator and scammer. But right now, in this situation with Nolan that I'm focusing on, there's something that doesn't smell right. As Judge Carlo Moore said, something smells wrong in the milk. The milk don't smell right. It's rotten. Something is rotten in this whole thing. Thank you, everybody, for coming over. Patricia, I appreciate you, my sister. Wilborn, all of you. Dragon, thank you for coming over. They might be able to pull any deleted cell phone. Well, with the FBI coming on board in this case, I did read to you that the FBI is going to be doing some digital forensics. Let me put this back up here because I had read that to you before. And here we go. Right here. And thank you again for the super chat. I really appreciate that, my good sister. As I said before, as part of the involvement, the Ledbetter, which is that terrible sheriff down there, the FBI agents are assisting with forensics examination and digital evidence investigator have collected during the investigation. So we got to find out what's going to happen, what type of game they're going to play. Are they going to be truthful? But once again, this sister is telling you about how it was difficult just trying to get the phone from these people. The people who's supposed to be his so-called friends who left them out there.
Can attest to this. Nolan was always taking pictures, always making videos. So I would expect something in the Snapchat, right? Both accounts were empty. There was no saved videos. Like it was nothing there.
From the whole
and
day?
I just find that very hard to believe from the whole day. And so that's why I was kind of like, wait, like this doesn't feel like this is really starting not to feel right.
Right.
Especially once we got that phone and kind of started going through it. And like I said, I just don't see that. Like I know my child, right? No parent is perfect. We don't know everything 100% about our kids, but I know more. I know my child well. especially
Facts.
with the way
Every
he
parent
moves, the things
does.
he does.
Or should.
And if he has a phone out all the time at home, he's definitely going to have a phone out whenever he's out and he's, doing things with his friends. So that was just really hard to believe.
Tell
that
the
there
truth.
was nothing there.
Ben Crump, I mean, listening to this, where does the investigation stand? The question, what happened to Nolan, is still there.
Woo. Ladies and gentlemen, now I want to show you something. We're trying to figure out what happened to Nolan. What went wrong? Who's lying? Who's telling the truth? What's going on here? Well, whenever something involves a black person, black woman, black man, black child, it doesn't matter, anything black, the first thing they want to do is dirty us up. There are already people out there trying to say that Nolan was using some type of, he was getting high, that he was drinking and what have you. Well, check this out. I want to show you something right here, because this is how they try to dirty up the image of young, outstanding black people like Nolan. Check this out. Check this out right here. So right here, ladies and gentlemen, there was an article, volunteer rescuer pushes back on claims that Nolan Wells was heavily intoxicated before his death. They're already trying to put that crap out there that he was under some intoxication. The people that were part of that Cajun Navy, the guy with the beard who found him, is pushing back on this for these reasons. This is what he said right here, and I'm going to read it to you. Check this out. I want y'all to see this. He says, "My understanding is that even though there was pictures of boys drinking beer and stuff, Nolan's blood alcohol level was not at an intoxicated level, according to Brian Tristner." I don't know if I'm saying that last name right, but his first name is Brian, the vice president and spokesperson for the United Cajun Navy, told People in an article published on Tuesday, July 14th, that when he found the body, I guess they have tools, they can take vitals, they could do the whole 9 yards, that there was nothing that indicated that Nolan Wells, see how they dirty up our kids with some nonsense. He said that there was no indication that Nolan Wells had such blood alcohol level. So he's pushing back on the nonsense that they're putting out there. What do you all think about that? What I just read to you right there, huh? What do you all think about that? Isn't that crazy? Patricia Wilbump said, "I wonder if the Mississippi Forensics Department uses aluminum." Oh, I know what you're saying. That's that chemical that will show where there's blood. But see, this is why the boat that they were on I don't know if the Mississippi Sheriff's Department has already taken control of that boat, or did someone scrub it down? I know what you're saying. It could show blood splatters and all that kind of stuff on. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, my sister. To look for evidence that they should have lit those boats up with Nolan's vehicle, and right. They should have lit it up with that stuff to see if there's blood drippings. Where did the blood drippings go? You're right. But they've given people time. This whole thing is crazy. Jerome says that they are trying to get the independent autopsy results to come out to force so that they can change the original autopsy results. Local authorities. Hey, I believe that they could be doing something like that. They sold or destroyed that boat. Good point. And then we got my man, another CG says that boat is cleaned up. That's what I'm saying. And the judge already has said that they should have never gave them time to clean this whole thing up, potentially. We got my man saying this right here. What's going on? Hawkins, let me see. You say here, where are the autopsy results? We have not heard from the state or the independent pathologists. It's been over a week. I agree with you. Now, Ben Crump says that it's going to take some time for all the tests that they're running. And I want to know, but I want it to be thorough. I want us to have right data, because if this whole thing is what we think it is, people need to be arrested. People need to be heavily questioned. Everything falls in doubt. My man Yaupo comes back in there. Thank you for for everything that y'all saying in the chat room.
Tell the truth.
So let's get this straight. People are speculating that Nolan was drunk, but there is not a peep about those white boys who were drinking, right, and getting high in the whole 9 yards. Yeah. Like, for example, let me play this for you. I think I forgot to play something for you in that Laura Coates video. Let me play this back. Let me see. Is this the part I want to play for y'all? Let me see.
Mysteriously found dead. Nolan Wells was found in the water near an island where he had taken a boat trip with friends on the 4th of July. And tonight, new clues are emerging as to how he separated from the group. One of his friends says that he met a girl and decided to stay behind.
They met that day, and it was kind of one of those things. It did come off that day that he really did like her, but that was the only time they've ever hung out.
I don't trust this guy. I don't trust this guy right here who claims to be his good friend. The family doesn't know nothing about him. I don't trust him. Now, let me go back over here. There's another area I want to cover, because I got some more material to show y'all tonight that's definitely going to give us some more enlightenment on this whole situation. Okay. Now, remember I told you that as we all already know, the family has met with the DA. I think her name is Angel Myers. She does not have a good history when it comes to dealing with black issues within her county. And the judge himself, Judge Carlo Moore, who I need to get in contact with and try to see if I can get him on the channel for an interview, had this to say about this woman that we cannot trust. Here we go.
And so, John Ledbetter, I am happy.
Ledbetter is the sheriff.
Finally asked the FBI to come in and help with the investigation. That's a step in the right direction. So I am man enough to tell you when you're doing something right, but when you're doing something wrong, I'm going to tell you that as well. So in my humble opinion, you made a step in the right direction to bring the FBI in to investigate it. Now, I don't know why it took you 9 days to figure that out, that you would need the FBI, but somehow, some way, a light bulb finally magically appeared, and you have done the right thing in that instance. And so we are grateful for that. I mentioned on Sunday during my live that we needed to hear from the district attorney, Angel Myers,
Angel Myers. McGrath, but I say Angel Myers.
From her all of last week, and since the person had died, we called for her to do an investigation, and all of a sudden, her name comes up on Monday. She's working along with the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, doing an investigation. So the family has been calling for transparency all this time. So I don't know why you would keep them in the dark last week that you were doing an investigation when some.
Didn't I say, everybody, that the family was kept in the dark, and they are the ones that had to reach out to make this whole thing happen with the district, the DA, who I'm telling you, that DA, that woman Myers, he's talking about, she's not kosher. She ain't right. Everybody listen.
Somebody who knows how it's done calls you out on Sunday night. Early one Monday morning, you decide to tell everybody that you're doing an investigation. So thank you, DA McElrath. We've been wondering what you have been up to the past few days. So now we know. And we also gave a deadline. We said that we needed to know some things by today, by Wednesday, or we would be calling for certain things. And we would descend in Jackson County on Saturday if we didn't have certain answers by today. I'm from Moss Point, Mississippi, in Jackson County, Mississippi. And folks know I almost quit school because I don't play. School had recess. I do not play. I don't even play the radio. Those folks know me. They know me well. And if I say it, I mean it. And so I see today, not only did she had announced earlier this week that she was going to work with, or was working with the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, she met with the family and their counsel and gave them an update and told them that she will be presenting all of the evidence to a Jackson County grand jury. That is a step in the right direction. But
here we go.
In the right direction because we had to call her hand. Had she planned to do that all alone?
No, she didn't.
I had the unfortunate experience of meeting the DA, McElrath, back in 2019 when I was a partner with the Cochran firm. And Toussaint Diamond Sims was killed by a Morris Point Police Department officer on August the 8th, 2019.
Listen.
It was caught on video. There were several witnesses that said that young man had nothing in his hands.
Black young man.
5 times in the back by that Morris Point cop. 5 times in the back, nothing in his hands. DA McElrath presented all that evidence, overwhelming evidence, and she still could not secure an indictment of that officer in Jackson County. So
an officer who took the life of a black young male man who didn't do anything wrong. She has a track record, as I say.
Before everybody goes and starts singing her praises, let's make sure she's not going to do another sham presentation to the grand jury. And we know that you can present things to various grand juries until you get an indictment. It's mighty funny that the regular saying is you can indict a ham sandwich. With all that evidence, after someone was killed in 2019, and I happened to represent the family at that time as a partner in the Cochran firm.
Wow.
And I met with her as well as the family, similar to what happened today, so I've been through that process with her. She will offer you sweet tea. She's a nice, good Southern belle. Can she get you justice? We're not going to sleep on you, Angel, excuse me. We're not going to sleep on you. This time, we expect you to present the evidence in a manner like you present it in other situations that you can secure an indictment or indictments.
Right.
I do know you don't have to be indicted for anything to be arrested. All of this evidence is out there now. It should have been presented to a judge by now. Some of it for probable cause to make some arrest. Some of it to get the search warrants. I am not about any dilatory tactics. You're not going to punt the ball and put it on the grand jury. Certain folks need to be arrested now if there's so much evidence. Evidently, there's enough evidence for the FBI to now be involved. Evidently, there's enough evidence now for the DA to announce that she's going to present things to the grand jury. There's nothing to present to a grand jury if there's an accidental drowning. An accidental drowning under no suspicious circumstances would not require a presentation to a grand jury, and the DA could make that call herself. So evidently, there's something not clean in the milk.
Clean in the milk, that's right.
There's something not clean in the milk, and they know it.
And they know it.
But yet and still, because of privilege or whatever, there has been no arrest, and we are day 11 post July the 4th, when Nolan Wells was first reported missing. Now, I'm the people's judge, and I shoot it to you straight with no chaser. That is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. You think we're going to sing your praises because you put on a dog and pony show. You can say the right thing. You can be courteous. But the Mississippi I know, the Jackson County I know, they will smile in your face and serve you 2 glasses of sweet tea and still
Tell the truth.
stab you in the back.
Facts.
I can talk about them because that's where I'm from.
Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen.
So, John Ledbetter, I am happy that you.
He just told the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Facts. But he said that there should be some people arrested. Well, let me get to the other area that I talked about. For some of you who came into the show a little bit later tonight, I started off saying that they have not arrested anyone for what had happened to Nolan at this point in time. But at some point in time in Mississippi, in recent years, not in the past, a 10-year-old child was arrested and prosecuted for peeing outside. If a black child could be arrested for peeing outside in Mississippi, in this Jackson County, should I say, then why is it that no one has been arrested so far for this? Because even the people who operated those boats should be under some scrutiny. I'll tell you why. It's called maritime law. Maritime law, what every boat owner needs to know. The maritime law of the United States consists of federal statutes, laws, and common judge made laws. It applies to accidents or incidents involving both commercial vessels and recreational vessels. That vessel that day that they went out on, I believe, is recreational. They're out there just to have fun and lounge. Under the general maritime law, a recreational boat and its owner and operators owe to all passengers and others than employees of the owner or an operator a duty of care. They owed a duty of care to everybody that was on that boat. That includes someone like Nolan. So if these kids were on those boats drinking and they knew that they were drinking, getting high, if there was any shenanigans going on those boats or on the boat, they are liable for whatever's going on. So even if you want to say Nolan was drinking, even though they said, according to the rescuers, that they didn't see any blood alcohol levels high on Nolan when they found his body and they started to do the vitals and all of those sort of things, right? Even if let's say Nolan did drown, let's say there was some horseplay and some kind of way he fell into the water. Let's say something happened because they looked the other way when these kids were getting drunk or what have you. The people who ran the boat would be in trouble. They would be held accountable. They would have to be accountable under maritime law. Because why? Operating a duty of care to not neglect or injure, right? Injure them and to warn them of any known danger. They had the duty to keep everyone safe. Here's another part of maritime law. The law of the sea explained. Maritime law, also called, is a branch of law that covers most aspects of maritime activities, workers, including shipping, navigation, seamen, piers and docks, whatever recreational activity, ships, towage. They said they had to tow the damn thing because they claimed that it took on water. Maritime lies, even privacy. Maritime law is similar to but separate from civil law. The patient of common law or using procedures is not the bending in what we call maritime law, but may be used in some situations. So they had a duty to keep the vessel safe, to keep the kids safe. Don't allow shenanigans to go on. They should have never allowed any horse playing to go on where someone can fall overboard. They shouldn't be allowed to be letting them drink beer on their boats. Where you see right here, they had beer in hand. Right here. The two white boys to the left got beer in their hand. Even if Nolan had a beer, the people who ran the boats had the right under maritime law. They were supposed to make sure that none of these kids were under the age of to be able to drink any liquor or do any horse playing or anything on that damn boat. The whole thing stinks, y'all. The whole thing stinks. Now, after all of this was said, I want y'all to hear what the governor of Mississippi had to say. I want you to hear this nonsense from the governor of Mississippi. Listen.
We're at the west tip of Horn, and
Boom. That's not the one I want. Here we go. Right here. Check it out.
All of the facts surrounding the case. I have yet to see a fact or a piece of evidence.
Boom. He contradicts himself. He says, I don't know many of the facts of the case. If you don't know many of the facts of the case, then how can you sit up there and say you don't think that there was any foul play when you just said out of one side of your mouth that you don't know all the facts of the case? If you don't know all the facts of the case and you're the governor of the state and nobody briefed you on all the facts, then what are you talking about? Listen to this again.
I don't know all of the facts surrounding the case. I have yet to see a fact or a piece of evidence that suggests any foul play. But if there is, I feel confident that the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office, the members at the Department of Public Safety that deal with these crimes, if there had been one, they will find it and they will do what is necessary.
This man is BS. Let me let you know, this governor is the same governor who let black people down in Jackson. Right where the Jackson State football team plays, the college team, the HBCU team. Remember a few years ago when Dion was coaching at Jackson State? And they had a water issue. There was flooding out there. They had to bring in water from the outside. And because Jackson is the capital of Mississippi, which has a large black population, and they didn't do anything to fix the infrastructure in this area because why? Because black people make up the majority of the people that live in a capital city. They want to drive them out. They want to gentrify them. The mayor of this place is black. So this sucker that you just heard, the governor, is a Mississippian. Didn't spend any money at the state level to help them out with the plumbing. The reason why they were having flooding problems in Jackson is because the plumbing that they're operating off of is old plumbing, out of date, needs to be needs to be replaced with new plumbing. Well, guess what? Where do you think the mayor gets the money that he needs to operate for his city? He gets money from where? Your capital, your governor. This man doesn't give a damn about black people who live in the capital. And then has the nerve to sit up here and say, I don't know all the facts about the case, but I'm certainly sure that if there was something that was criminal, we would know it by now. These folks in Mississippi are so backwards as they were in the 60s and 40s and 50s and 30s. And Ku Klux Klan, I believe, was deep in Mississippi. Y'all tell me in the chat room, am I correct or am I wrong? This whole thing is it's a shame. And I wanted to do this video tonight to get to the bottom of all of this nonsense. Now, I want to give some respect where respect is due here. This is the part that's always difficult, but they're preparing for funeral services, funeral announcement, Nolan Xavier Wells, Monday, July 20th, this upcoming Monday, 2026. I'm sure they're going to have this. I believe they probably will have this broadcast on social media, broadcast on YouTube. I hope they do, because I'm pretty sure she wants the world to see what potentially could have happened to her son. It will be a 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. service, funeral at 11 a.m. Entrusted to the Lockhart Williams Mortuary Incorporated, 2018 31st Street Avenue, Gulfport, Mississippi, 39501. I feel bad about what happened to this young man. He had a promising future, and I don't know, y'all. I don't know whether we're gonna get any real truth here. I think we've been told nothing but lies. I think someone's lying. I think the whole issue around the phone and the cell phone, the father had to go there and get the keys back, and that was a struggle because they were lying to him. His best friend's mother, along with Nolan's mother, were trying to figure out the GPS system, the 360, and say he hadn't posted anything on Snapchat, and that wasn't like him not to. We already heard from his best friend, Jalen Williams, who already told you that no, Nolan would never, ever leave his phone or his belongings with some people and just walk away from the group that he came there with. And you know why that makes sense? Because his father has already come out on Good Morning America and said that he taught Nolan to always stay with the people that he came there with, because there's strength in numbers, even though there wasn't strength in numbers because on this day, because those folks didn't care enough to stay on that damn island and try to find him, and didn't give a damn enough about Nolan to give the parents the belongings that belonged to him. Instead, they lied to the parents' friends and lied to the father. Because they're guilty. And when you are guilty, your self-conscious starts to bother you. Your conscience starts to bother you. So we need to know what exactly happened on that island. What exactly was going on? What exactly was the situation? Something doesn't smell right about this whole thing. Listen again.
We're sinking. Can y'all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
It still, however, leaves many people wondering.
They said everybody on board was safe. So then what the hell happened to Nolan? Why wasn't he remaining safe as everybody made it back home but him? And Ledbetter, the sheriff, was already talking about, oh, he drowned. It's just a drowning. This whole thing is crazy, y'all. I hope y'all all got something out of the program tonight. I really do.
Tell the truth.
I really appreciate you guys coming over as I get ready to conclude. But let me put this up as a reminder. How many of y'all remember this young man, Jason Smith, Louisiana, another Southern place, 14 years old. He went with white friends and was found drowned. No charges. Look this up for yourself, everybody. No charges were ever charged for those white folks. All we know is that he drowned and they get off. And we know that black people for the most part, we don't do no wild stuff to put ourselves in jeopardy. We don't do no wild stuff. Things happen, but this doesn't smell right either. Now, let me play this. Before I end this show tonight, don't go anywhere. Share the video. I found this clip of Don Lemon on his show because I thought what Don Lemon on this clip that I'm going to play for you was making a lot of sense. And let's go ahead and let you hear this clip. Check it out.
This process, and which they're kind of dressing up as progress.
Right.
So attorney Eric Hertz, who is on the team with Ben Crump, told reporters something today that got buried under all the grand jury language. He said that Mississippi law entitles crime victims to receive an incident report within roughly 72 hours of a death. 72 hours. That's his claim, made on the record at the podium. It has been 11 days. Getting that report and finally establishing real communication with investigators was part of the actual mission of today.
Now, when I clipped this and Don Lemon did his show, at that time it was 11 days. Now it's like what, 12, 13? It might be 13 or 14 days now. And I already brought up the law to you earlier in the show right here. We're talking about the Mississippi Code 9943-8 is what Don is talking about right there. Let's get back to it.
To receive an incident report within roughly 72 hours of a death. 72 hours. That's his claim, made on the record at the podium. It has been 11 days. Getting that report and finally establishing real communication with investigators was part of the actual mission of today's meeting. Not a bonus ask, a basic legal entitlement that the family had to escalate to the district attorney's office to pursue because the sheriff's department wasn't providing it on its own. Now, here's what else came out of it. The case will go to a grand jury. It will go to a grand jury, but only once the sheriff's investigation is finished. And that's standard procedure in Mississippi for any unnatural or suspicious death. Doesn't mean anyone suspects that there's a crime. It doesn't mean anyone doesn't. It is basically a checkpoint. And it's not a verdict. And I want to be precise about it.
Did you hear what Don Lemon said, everybody? Put sevens in the chat room, please. Let's go into the chat room, see what you all are saying. I appreciate you all here. I'm going to read some of your statements before I end the program tonight. So let's go in here and let's go at it right here. We got the Regulator Media TV saying Mississippi was gonna lie now. They're gotta come correct or get caught. Right. Alicia, thank you for coming over tonight. I appreciate you, my sister. You've been doing a great job as a mod on the channel, as many of the other mods. I really appreciate you. I appreciate y'all putting those sevens out there because it makes me know that we're all on the same page together as it relates to this nonsense that's happening here. Yapo says, I don't think those demons' conscience was bothering them. They were at home chilling and lying like they used to do after, I know, hanging us from the trees like fruit. I get it, dear brother. Information. Thank you, sister. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Appreciate you all in the chat room for hanging with me. I know it's late. I know some of y'all probably saying, man, I got to get to bed. I got to get some rest. I could have done this on Saturday, but I wanted to get this video done because it should have been done yesterday. Because I need to get this video done today because there's so much more content around this that I need to get to. So there's a potential that I could go live tomorrow at a more decent time than now, maybe. We'll see. We'll just see what happens. Because what I want to do, there are a lot of people like Jason Woodlock, a bunch of buck dancing raccoons out there who are saying look, Jason Woodlock did a video today where he's trying to say that the mother is looking for attention because she went on. This is what's dumb about him. She was a content creator prior to this happening. She has a YouTube or she has a following. She got on her social media with her followers or her supporters, should I say. I like that. That's a better word. I like supporters better. And she said to them, y'all know what's been going on. I just want to thank you for your support, because obviously the people that support her have been sending her emails and acknowledging that she's lost her son. So that sellout, that buffalo butt, sat up there and said, oh, she seems like she wants to be on camera. She seems like she's trying to be a star. The woman already has a significant following on social media that she's been working on prior to this thing happening. So now if you got a social media presence, you can't go on there and tell the people that support you that, hey, I know I've been gone for a while. Y'all know what's happening. I lost my son. I want to thank you for your well wishes and your prayers. Put me and my family in your prayers. She didn't go on there and say, give me this money, give me that money, hit the Cash App. Like, what's that? Umar Johnson's always talking about hit the Cash App. She wasn't doing any of that. And this fat piece of garbage sits up there and demonizes her. It doesn't matter what black people do. When bad things happen to black people, Jason Woodlock will always find a way to raccoon himself into putting black people down. This is a shame.
Tell the truth.
It is crazy. Let me see this. There will be no justice, just financial justice for parents, but not for Nolan. And Mississippi will continue to doing the same old. I agree with you. I hate to say it, but I agree.
Tell the truth.
I agree, because that's how Mississippi is. Okay. Why would she say healthy? Everybody's healthy on board, like she knew something. Right. Let me play that again before I end this show, just to emphasize the point that they said prior to this whole thing that everything was okay, that they were healthy. Listen.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
It's still, however,
Everybody on board was in good health.
What happened?
Otherwise, now listen.
Between 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. when his friends say they last saw him at 3 p.m.
We're sinking.
Now, as you know, we've been following the story. And
We're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking.
now,
As I said before, something doesn't add up here, folks, because they claim that that's where Nolan's body was found. So if Nolan's body was found at the body was found at the northwest tip, then what happened in that moment with Nolan, Xavier Wells? What happened? We need to know the truth. We need to know the facts. And the autopsy, as I said in the last few videos I did, is our passport to the truth. The independent autopsy, not the one at the sheriff's in Mississippi and at Jackson County, not their results, independent, because I believe that they're biased out there. Obviously. Let me get back over here. Y'all know what I'm trying to say, everybody. Now, before I get out of here, I want to read something to you, because you got the buck dancers and the naysayers that say this: oh, black people are violent, black people are dangerous, black people are more safe around black people and more safe around white people than they are black people because black people are inherently violent. Well, let me give you something from the studies out here. In America, approximately 80% to 82% of violent crimes committed by white offenders are directly at other white people, because most crimes happen within the same racial group due to geographical neighborhoods. We've been saying this for years now. Demographics, these are considered internal racial incidents. Nationally, white Americans account for the majority of raw arrests for violent crimes, while violent crime totals, according to the FBI crime data, explores and shows that white individuals, they always talking about black on black crime. Well, let's talk about white on white crime here. White individuals make up roughly 53% to 60% of all violent crimes arrest, and they make up about 45% of murder arrest. when examining the victims of these specific violent crimes, such as murder, which is a legal term, about 78% to 80% of white murder victims are deleted and taken out of here by white offenders. Did y'all hear what I just said, what I just broke down? Total crime, according to FBI files, total criminal activity has white people at 69.4% to black people at 26.6%. Violent crime is 59.1% compared to 36.4% for black people. Aggravated assault is at 61.8% white people, according to their own data, because FBI, that's their stuff. Black people at 33.2%. The R word, the groping, the R-ing, the SR, you know what SR means. White people lead in that at 69%, 69.8%. Black people at 26.8%. Arsoning, putting things on fire, 70.80%, 8% for white folks, 24.78%, 24.7 for black people. Now, they always say that black people, we got the whippings. We're always having whippings and we're dangerous. No, white people carry and possess weapons at 55.6%, black people at 41.8%. Offenses against children and family, white people at 68.8%, black people at 28.3%. Drug abuse and violations, white people at 71.2%, black people at 26.1%. Offenses against the family, I think I read that already. Property crime, they're leading at 66.8%. We're at 29.8%. Sex offenses, you know what I'm talking about. They lead at 74.6%. We're at around 20.6%. So this whole thing that black people are the only violent ones and that we stand a chance of being more safe around white people. No, there's white people doing a lot of harm in this society to people too. And they do more harm to each other. So that whole thing about black on black crime is a farce. Because if you're going to say black on black crime, you must now say white on white crime. I think I've proven that tonight. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to end the show now. I thank you for coming over, spending time with us, all of us here. Not just me, but you're spending time with people in the chat room that you know. You're listening to the discussion that we're having. Let's see right here. Who is responsible for the global wars and the deleting of thousands of people, mass deletions who dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japanese not black folks, not us. What's going on, DOD? Thank you for being here. Brother Hawker said, everybody except Nolan. Right. Everybody except Nolan. Thank you, everybody. I mean, everybody get some sleep, get some rest. Appreciate you. We're going to let this video marinate and do its thing. And then I'm going to come back with some more content. If not tomorrow, I am going to do a show about Umar Johnson on Sunday. You can't miss that show. Tomorrow, if something breaks out in the news about Nolan, if there's some additional information that comes out, like an autopsy report, if something comes out, I will go live. I will report this as soon as I possibly can. Even if I have to go vertical video again, I'll do it. But I'll have to report something. If there's any breaking news that we learn about, I'll be looking for that. Appreciate you. Tell somebody that you love them. And everybody, it's been great. Y'all take care. Peace.
So something must be up keeping you down. You a queen that must be heaven sent. Pray my soul, I must repent for not telling you
Peace.
what I meant and how I felt. Honestly, I'm used to throwing wishes in the well. My conscience tells me that I could have helped without fail. Actions speak louder than words, and that's a lesson that I learned all by myself. Let her know, I gotta let her know that she my white horse, she my medical. She like my baby mama, know how to take care of me. Give my baby problems, you gon' regret every day. So I let her know, gotta let her know. Came through the front door, I'll be ready for her. And if it's what you want, I'ma give it to you. Yeah, promise, I'ma give it to you. La, 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 feel it, baby, stress is all around us. These high ceilings and I need it, baby. Pressure and make diamonds, I won't steal it, baby. Silent, baby, hurts to see you crying. Know you trying, ain't no lying, baby. When I say I need you, greedy if I have to share you. It was me that all along did you wrong, thinking that I made you beautiful and strong. This toxicity, the death of me, I feel the day you gone. The most beautiful girl I've ever known. I'll find a way to treat you better. I swear there's no one out there like you. You teach me to be better. My talk is cheap, keep asking what I do. I'll fly you to the moon and hope I'll see you soon. I'll find a way to treat you better. No problem, I'll do whatever. Let her know, I gotta let her know. She my medical, she like my baby mama, know how to take care of me. Give my baby problems, you gon' regret every day. So I let her know, gotta let her know. Came through the front door, I'll be ready for her. And if it's what you want, I'ma give it to you. Yeah, promise, I'ma give it to you. La, 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 la,
You are listening to
let her know, I gotta let her know. She my white horse, she my medical. She like my baby mama, know how to take care of me. Give my baby problems, you gon' regret every day. So I let her know, gotta let her know. Came through the front door, I'll be ready for her. And if it's what you want, I'ma give it to you. Yeah, promise, I'ma give it to you. Miss that smile, Lord knows I ain't seen that in a while, but it's your style. So something must be up keeping you down. You a queen that must be heaven sent. Pray my soul, I must repent for not telling you.
Information is power.